Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. It's been such a long break away from you guys this morning, but I'm excited to be back here. And it's particularly important that we have this 9 o'clock conversation because it's a brand new year. And as always, the conversations have started. Many of us crossed over into 2026 with plans, with prayers, with vision boards, and long lists of things we hope we will achieve. But beyond wishful thinking, the big question is, how intentional are we really about the lives that we want to live? Because I see we are at a time where a lot of people are super obsessed with having these affirmation calendars, this whole vision board thing. In fact, a lot of people have built businesses out of these entire things. But one thing people fail to understand is, regardless of how much affirmations are great, don't get me wrong. No matter how much you affirm, no matter how much you have those vision boards and those plans, if you don't get up and get going, they will remain visions. They will just remain things that we put on the wall. They will remain affirmations. So today's conversation is about moving from hoping to doing, from simply desiring change to making conscious, deliberate choices that shape our year and shape our lives. Intentional living asks us to be present, to take responsibility for our decisions, and to align our actions with the future we want to see. And because this isn't easy, it isn't always easy to navigate alone, today I am joined by someone in the studio who helps people do this work daily. I'll say a life coach, a talk office.
I like to call myself a wealth coach, actually.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. A wealth coach who will help us move past old patterns and how to step into 2026 with clarity and purpose. So whether you're feeling hopeful, unsure, somewhere in between, overwhelmed, we have all been there somehow, somewhere. This conversation is for you. And I have the pleasure of being joined by Unjara Njama Esquire. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Martha. The pleasure is mine.
You look really nice.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. So we're having this conversation about intentional living in the new year and moving past wishful thinking.
Yeah.
How was your 2025? Let me start with that.
Audacious. I failed gladly.
Okay.
And I set more boundaries.
Okay.
Those are the phrases I'll use to describe the year so far.
2026.
Yes.
What were the major? Were you able to achieve everything? Because I know that we have this whole idea of vision boards. We have to smash this goal. We have to do this. What was your approach to it basically in 2025?
Interestingly, yesterday I was journaling for the year. I started doing it like at the beginning of the month.
Okay.
And then I realized that I wanted to start the phrase by saying things I did not complete for the month. And then it just dawned on me that there were a lot of things I didn't complete for the year. So I now stated things I did not complete in 2025. I dare say the list is long.
It's very long.
The list is long. But then I moved from thinking about the things I didn't complete to then using that as a force to begin the year, right?
Yeah.
So these are the list of things that I didn't complete. Of course, there were things that I completed, I achieved, I was successful on. But then these are all the things that I now need to correct as I move into 2026, which just launches me into intentional living.
Absolutely.
Instead of just writing things down, as we'll get to see later.
And do you know that it's surprising that I also was trying to journal yesterday, but I got caught up trying to read out everything I had journaled for the year 2025.
Oh.
And one interesting thing that I did, during my exercise in 2025 was I wrote 2025 as a finished product.
Okay.
So it was just basically saying, oh, I'm thankful for this. I was able to do this. I did that. And when I was going through that list, I said to myself, some of these things I didn't do.
Yeah.
But I did better things. Yes. I did bigger things that I'm so excited about. But you see, most times we have people caught up in this limbo of what I write is what I must execute.
Oh, no, that doesn't exist anywhere. That doesn't exist. And as you will come to see, there's a big place of awareness, self-awareness.
Yeah.
Self-awareness really just means that you are understanding yourself in the phases that you now exist. Now, maybe at the beginning of the year, you were all about losing weight, and that was a big thing for you. And then you get to a snag, maybe a medical condition, and you're unable to lose or shed the weight that you wanted to shed. It is important for you to understand that your realities have changed, and you need to start doing things differently to support who you are currently. intentionally if you want to stay happy, intentional and fulfilled when the year comes to an end.
Okay, I'm particularly excited about conversations like this because I mean, I'm always happy when people have the right knowledge to launch them into bigger and better things. A person who does not plan, I mean, it's a very popular quote. If you don't plan, or if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yes.
Absolutely. But now let's go to the crux of the matter. We're talking about intentional living, which is something that we pretty much would not see in society because of words like que sera, sera, what will be. You know, if it happens, it happens. God no go shame us.
The universe is doing its thing.
I hear this a lot. I hear this a lot. But talk to me about intentional living, or talk to us about intentional living.
Basically, the summary of intentional living is to set out to achieve something with a goal in mind. That's how it is. That's the simplest way I can explain it. You're coming into 2026. You are setting out in every action or inaction because, well, in law, there is... when you're committing a crime, there is a crime of action, there's a crime of inaction. So in daily living, when you do not or refuse to take a step, you are indirectly also acting. So in your actions or inaction, you are intentionally setting out with the goal in mind, with the end in mind. That's basically intentional living. So the activities that support your vision, activities that support your happiness, your joy, your career, your health, your relationship, your spirituality, all of these things tie together with the end in mind. Now I'm going to explain what the end in mind means, but for now, that's basically intentional living. And funny enough, intentional living and resolution really are one and the same thing. The only difference is that we've bastardized New Year's resolution so much so that it doesn't carry any power, because resolution in itself means being resolute about something you want to do or don't want to do. So intentional living, being resolute as to the goal that you want to achieve, that's basically what intentional living means.
Why do you think that a lot of people find it very difficult to live intentionally? Because I think that it will make your journey lighter at like a 50% when you're very intentional about what you do and how you do what you do. Now, why do you think people find it difficult to live intentionally?
The simple answer to this is because let me phrase it two ways. First of all, when I started on my journey on self-awareness, self-development, and all of those yada stuff, the first thing I realized was that I thought that as a human being, I was built to succeed. I was put here to fulfill purpose, to be impactful, and all of those fancy words. But that's not why I'm here. And it shocked me when I found that out. And the simple reason is that as a human being, your first purpose on earth is to survive. And survival has got nothing to do with success, impact, or intentional living. Your brain over the time has been orchestrated to keep you safe. That's the function of the brain. So every single time that you need to do something that scares, I don't want to use
your brain.
That scares your brain, you are already setting yourself up for failure, because your brain is going to revert to factory setting. No, let's not do that. That's not what we are here for. We're just here to live, survive, and that's it. So that's the first biology or historical dimension to this stuff. And that's why you see when people are going through stuff, you who has done the work to develop yourself a little above them, you are now seeing, but this is very simple.
Exactly.
I mean, why did you
should have done this.
That's you who has done the work to overcome the natural synthesis of your brain, right? So that's the first phase of it. Now, the second phase of it is that to live intentionally is very hard.
Absolutely.
It is not simple. Look here. Coming here this morning, I was up all night dancing and shouting in church. You know, all I wanted to do this morning was lazy in bed. And then in my head, I remember like Martha called me. I need to show up because I have given my word. That was not easy.
And that's such an important thing.
That's exactly.
Showing up because you need to.
Because you need, not because it is convenient, not because it's comfortable, not because it's easy, not even because it's fun, but because you need to. So that's the other phase of it. So people are unable to really balance the idea of showing up intentionally because they need to. Everybody is tying this work thing to, oh, it has to be easy, it has to be fun, it has to be cool, it has to be entertaining, it has to be entertaining, I beg your pardon, it has to be something that I do because no, that's not it. And that's the line for intentional living. Intentional living, you set your goal on something and you do all it takes to achieve it. At interval, you are adjusting and tweaking it as long as it satisfies the end goal at the end of the day.
Do you know that you can do the work so much up to the extent that your brain becomes, you can rewire your brain actually.
Absolutely.
That it becomes uncomfortable in excessive comfort.
Thank you.
I feel like it's just a lot of brain. And surprisingly, we've had this conversation yesterday through this morning. I was speaking to my colleague this morning and I said, if you don't do something, you're just going to remain where you are and you're going to complain the whole time about remaining at a point and nothing changing at all. But you see, one problem that I've come to find out, especially in the corporate world, in the social space, is people not being able to set goals for themselves. So you would see people be, I don't think anybody is supposed, okay, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
But you see people stay at a particular point for a very long time, afraid to apply to other jobs, afraid to start something new. But we have all these big resolutions we set aside, you know, wishful thinking, I call it all the time, because most times, about 80% of these resolutions, people don't work towards it and it doesn't happen at all.
They don't.
So let's talk about these patterns of recurrent failure to implement these resolutions, these plans, and how do you call resolutions, you call it. Now, how would you move past the point where you have these things, you have this idea, to actually implementing it?
Okay, so I'm going to respond to this question in 3 phases.
Okay.
I've already talked about the very first phase, which is how you're wired as a person.
Yeah.
You're not wired for greatness. You're wired to survive. Now, for you to then achieve greatness, it means that you need to do something about your mindset, about how your mind works.
Absolutely.
And you've used the right words by saying that you can rewire your brain. And there's a particular coach that I like so much, and he says that you can literally, I'm not mincing word, he's telling you to fake it until you make it when it comes to your brain. Now, when you hear fake it until you make it, people just think about, oh, dress life, fake life. No, it is telling you to fake how your brain functions until it aligns with what you want, right? So that's the first phase of it. And I feel like we've done justice to that conversation. Now, the second phase is in the planning or the setting of your goals.
Yeah.
You can call it goals, you can call it vision, whatever it is. In the planning of it, a lot of our goals are result-based.
Yeah.
Which is fine, which is the first phase, actually. You want to come into 2026, you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to make 100 million naira. I hope you have the tax that you're going to pay in mind, but, right?
Oh, that's something.
So I want to make 100 million. Fantastic. Action is what is required to get to that result that you're aiming to get rather. So what you need to do as a person is to have action-based goals to support your result-based goals. For example, you want to earn $100,000 or 100,000 naira at the end of the year. That's your goal. Beautiful. What actions do you need to take consistently to get you to that 100,000 naira? Now, that's where the implementation plans comes in place. So if I were to make that kind of goal, I'm going to break it into quarters. Each quarter, how much do I want to earn or make? I give myself maybe, let's say, 35,000 naira each quarter, right? And that's the goal. So each month, how much do I want to make? I break it down for them. Now, that's fantastic. Those also are result-based because I'm not taking any action really to achieve those goals. Now, the action I need to take is, what are the things that puts money in my pocket? Speaking puts money in my pocket.
Absolutely.
Hosting events puts money in my pocket. Coaching puts money in my pocket. Then it is then for me to now divide all of these things that I want to achieve and put them into those pockets. Oh, how much can I make from coaching? Let's say I can make 5,000 naira from coaching. What do I need to do in coaching to be able to make that money? Now, those are the actions that make your goal come true. Otherwise, it'll just be a wish, like you have said. So for every goal you set, which are results-based, there must be a supporting action-based goal that emphasizes or brings that result goal to life.
Okay.
So that's what is missing in all or most of our resolution. And that's why people are having some kind of distancing from resolution. I
From
asked
the
a friend,
first week.
yeah.
From
I
the
asked a
very
friend-
first week.
I asked a friend yesterday, do you believe in resolution? He said, never, God forbid, I don't believe in resolution. And I'm like, why? So he says, well, I don't believe in resolutions. Then I asked him, do you then have plans? He said, yes, I have plans. I said, but those are resolutions. So people are now making it to seem like it is the word resolution that is the problem.
I think because we have found a way to Christianize a lot of things.
Exactly.
So most people are like, I don't want to sound so religious.
Exactly.
So I don't want it to be called resolutions.
Exactly. So there's nothing wrong with resolutions. As a matter of fact, if I meet two people and one person tells me that they have New Year's resolution and the other person tells me they do not, I'm most likely going to align with the person that said they have, because that tells me that they've done some work in self-awareness, in understanding that, oh, certain things need to change. The only thing that needs to be done is to help them factor out how to implement daily routines and activities to help them achieve this resolution that they've done.
You have spoken a lot about self-awareness.
I have.
And I think that this is where the journey begins. When
Absolutely.
you know what you want. I say, and surprisingly, I say it all the time, whenever I get the chance to. The moment you are able to separate what you want from what you don't want, when you know your negotiables and non-negotiables,
Yes.
it helps you align your dreams and your
It
expectations.
really makes your life really very simple.
Simple.
Very simple.
So regardless of what anybody thinks, these are my resolutions. These are the things I like. These are the things I do not like.
Yeah.
And as long as it's not breaking any rule, as long as it's not demeaning anybody, right, intentionally, then I would have to go about it. But you see, one of the major problems I also have found with a lot of people is this pick-me attitude towards life and pick-me attitude towards everything. Now, I've said here many times that if, as an individual, everything is okay by you, right, I fear you, because you are a risk, because anybody can use you to do anything, and then you can stand for anything, good or bad.
True.
But the moment you are an individual that everyone knows has a very specific identity, this person would not do this person would not be leaning in towards this angle,
Yeah.
then opportunities will find you very easily.
I agree with you.
But you see, because in the workplace you want to be liked, on the streets you want to be liked, in the church you want to be liked, you want to be liked by everybody. And I've come to find out that people who happen to be in this phase of their life almost never make any significant progress, because before they make the progress, before they actually do something, they think about how it's going to make someone not like them, or how it's going to change a person's perspective about them, and so they almost never really move.
Yeah.
How do you think a person that is struggling with this can address it? Because trust me, I've seen a lot of people struggle with it. Oh, if I do this, they're not going to like it. If I talk about it now, they're going to get angry. Nobody ever died from getting angry, you know.
Nobody.
So how do you think these people can deal with situations like this?
So let's first address where it's coming from. I like to address where stuff like that usually come from.
Okay.
And the reality is that as young people or old people, we learned who we are from the people that taught us to be humans.
Okay.
And those are our parents, our families, school teachers, our environment, all of those people. They imprinted a bit of themselves in us.
Absolutely.
And if you see how the generations have consistently changed, what millennials used to find cool, Gen Zs don't find it cool. Like, why are you doing that in the workplace? Now, what that is doing is to tell you that there is really a shift in things happening. People who brought us up, there were things that they found comfortable. And one of those things is you need to be liked. Now, let's even take it like all the way back. Back in the day, communal living, back when we were in the Stone Age, communal living was how people survived. If you are not in a community, you have higher chances of dying. And very simple, we were fighting against wild animals. A lion can just show up in the stadium and then you are there, right? But chances of the lion showing up right now is zero, almost zero, right? So a lot has changed, but that deposit of our trait is still in us. So again, back to intentional living. You then have to decide for yourself the outlook of life that you want and the actions that will help you produce those outlook. Even though you as a person need to be in a community, you then have to define for yourself, in this community, what are my non-negotiables, like you said? What do I want to be known for? How do I want to present myself? What are the things that I will never find myself doing? You have those things listed. I'm a big fan of writing things down.
Absolutely.
And I don't even
Not
mean
even
writing
typing.
No. Don't type, please. Don't type.
I said,
There's
just something about traditionally writing something down that makes you internalize what you're reading.
There is a scientific research
For
about
that?
the connection of your hand to your brain. You
knew
need to
it.
read it.
It's
a cool research. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of writing things down. So write it down, how you want to be, who you want to be, regardless of your environment, where you were born, where you were raised, where you went to school, regardless of all those things. What is the utopic image of yourself?
Yeah.
Permit me to use that word. What is that ideal image of yourself that you think you're able to achieve? What is it? Write it down. Then start asking yourself, what steps and action do I need to take to birth this person? Now that's where self-awareness comes in. You cannot have this conversation with yourself if you do not take steps in knowing who you are. Self-awareness is basically knowing who you were, who you are right now, and who you are potentially to be tomorrow. That's basically it. So sometimes I prefer to use self-learning than self-awareness, because awareness really is about who you were in the past. But self-learning means every day you wake up,
there's something new about yourself.
You're going to do something that you never knew you could do. You know, so when people then say things like, don't ever say you will not when you have not been in that situation, it's so true. It's so true. You see these people that are trying to make a lot of money, and they tell you, me, when I make it, I will
because the way they always say, the way it will be you, it will shock you.
It will shock you.
Because
so the reality is that you need to get comfortable, get excited about knowing yourself. At the end of the day, this is all you have. This is the product that you're giving to the world. Nothing, every other thing emanates from this. This conversation is emanating from the products that you have. The impact you're going to make is emanating from this product. Every single thing is tied to this product. So why not take the time to know the product so you are able to even sell it better?
Well, I was just going to add something to when you said you're going to learn about yourself every day, and some things you think you never will do, you will find yourself doing.
Do them.
That's why I think self-awareness is very important, because I think as human beings we have very diverse tendencies, which means that when a different situation plays out, it exposes a part of you you probably never knew existed.
True.
However, it's important for you to set boundaries for yourself, which makes it easy to curtail whatever tendencies would emanate from an experience. So if as a person you say, I would never fight in public, I would never do that, no matter what it comes to, I will never do that, and then you go out there, someone provokes you in a way that nobody has ever had to provoke you. Now your immediate response to that will be fighting back in public. But because of the boundaries and the values that you have set for yourself, it makes it easy to say, you know what, I'm not going to roll in the mud with you. Even though everything in my being right now wants to roll in the mud with you, I would not. That's why it's also very important to set boundaries as an individual.
In addition to that, I prefer to use the last word that you use, values, instead of just boundaries. Because I feel like sometimes our boundaries are always going to be tested. In fact, for you to be sure that you have boundaries, when it has to be tested for you to know that you have boundaries. So let's call it value. What's your value system as a person? What are the things that you would naturally do? What are the things that you struggle to do? Absolutely. What are the things that you need to stop doing altogether? All of these things, you need to know them. Nobody's going to help you to know them. Well, the Holy Spirit could if you give him a chance. Absolutely. But nobody else, even the Holy Spirit, you have to invite the Holy Spirit to help you. I mean, so
without your permission, it doesn't come there.
So at the end of the day, you have to do the work to get to know yourself, and that's what we're talking about. If you don't know yourself, how dare you come out to set New Year's resolution? For who? Absolutely. If you don't know yourself, how do you want another person to hold you accountable and trust you with their work, with their time, with their money, with their emotions, when you don't know yourself? That means that's a risk waiting to happen. So knowing yourself, maybe we've talked about it so much, but it needs to also be talked about. Self-awareness, take the time, be excited about yourself every day enough to, if I ask you, who are you?
I'm a trailblazer.
Yeah.
And
you have not trailed anything. You have not trailed anything. So I want to encourage us to be excited about this product. Again, there's someone that I listen to that always says, look, we've been given this gigantic brain in our head to use. Nobody gave us the manual to use the brain.
Just find out what works every
Exactly.
day.
Same with who you are as a person. You have been put here on it. Nobody said, oh, you have to find out for yourself what this brand is, what this person is. And I was listening to a brand strategist last year, and she said something that surprised me. She said, first of all, in branding, you need to figure out who you are, or what you're doing, or what you're about, and then stick to it like your life depends on it. So if you've not discovered who you are, what are you sticking to?
And you know, when you talked about boundaries might not be the most efficient word to use at that time, and people will always test your boundaries. I think that as an individual, you should also learn to test your boundaries, because if you don't test your boundaries, you never know how far you could go. Set goals for yourself that scare you sometimes. I feel like the need for wanting to be in a very comfortable zone sometimes makes us limit the kind of goals that we have, because even sometimes when I see a person's resolution, I can tell how limited they have made themselves, you know, playing safe around the things that you normally will do, rather than setting goals or things that would actually be a challenge to you in the new year. So it's very important that we know that. I'm loving this conversation, absolutely loving it. And I'm hoping that you are picking a thing or two as well. But we cannot deny the fact that regardless of how many resolutions you set, how you stick by your resolutions, how you put actionable plans, they'll tell you set smart goals, set smarter goals. Okay. Every year there's something new, you know. They tell you set these goals, and sometimes people actually follow through with it. And I'm speaking personally, because there are many times I had set a goal in 2025. I set a goal for myself, and every single time I sit and I ask myself, should I really be doing this right now? Like, there's a time where you question every single thing. Yes, are you executing? Yes. Do you
are you getting the results?
Are you getting the results? Even when you're getting the results, sometimes not as much as you'd love it to be. Okay, so imagine that the person's goal for 2025 was having a lot more visibility. Now, visibility is good. Yeah. But nobody tells you the kind of pressure that comes with visibility without resources, palpable results. And results in our society would mean more money, would mean material things mostly.
I was hoping you were going to say much more money.
Much more money, much more money. You see? So once you get the visibility and you don't have that, you become stuck.
Yes.
Were you able to achieve the goal? Yes. Did it give you any result? No. How would you be able to balance, you know, being stuck on the way and balancing what results look like at a time where you're already setting goals and are actually smashing the goals?
Okay, so I'm going to respond to this by saying that there are two diverse ways to look at things. The first thing is the all or nothing way. So if you set a goal for yourself, for example, you want more visibility, and you told yourself your visibility is when you make a certain amount of money, right? And then you set out to make that amount of money, and you really did the work, but you didn't make the amount of money that you thought you were going to make, right? And speaking very fairly, that's like me as well. Okay. I don't know. I didn't make the amount of money I wanted to make.
Absolutely.
Right? So what then happens is when you have the all or nothing mindset, that keeps you miserable. Because at the end of the day, you are still result oriented, not action oriented. And what really improves you and makes you better is the actions you take. What instills discipline, what instills that valuable human being that you're looking out for, that will continuously increase their momentum and achieve more things, is action, not result. Right? So the all or nothing thinking, which a lot of us have, me inclusive, is if I don't get this particular thing, it means I failed. Well, again, that's going to keep you stuck. So that's not a mindset to achieve anything, whether in 2026 or any other year. Now, conversely, there is another mindset that you could maybe adopt, and the mindset is progress over perfection.
Absolutely.
Now, what that means is progress does not say that you have hit all the goals that you set for yourself. Progress means that you are not where you started at the beginning of the year. So did you take the action you said you were going to take? Yes. Did you do the things you wanted to do? Yes. Did you get better? Did you improve? Did you get discipline? What are those things? Yes. So you have made significant progress. but you are not aiming for perfection. So these are the two mindsets that people usually struggle with when it comes to goal setting or really anything in life. So all or nothing is not an empowering mindset.
Absolutely.
And it's something that we do not encourage. But the progress over perfection means that at the end of the day, you are taking steps and you're making progress. Now, there's an undertone that a lot of people struggle with is, how do I know that I'm not being complacent when I'm taking the progress on nothing mindset? It's kind of thinking that I'm being comfortable now, progress on nothing. You know?
Goals, vibes.
But the reality is that what the brain needs to for you to continue to achieve and take action is pretty simple. It is that dopamine drop to continue to make you keep producing. Now, to get dopamine, your brain needs to just feel like you're achieving something and you're excited achieving it. Now, what that progress or nothing, that's one or nothing mindset, what it does is it makes the brain feel like even though you have taken all this action or all these steps,
there's no
really, so why am I still doing it? So you end up stopping halfway and you'll be wondering, but I want to do this. No.
And this is how people start multiple businesses in 1 year.
And stop it.
1 year, somebody has tried 4 businesses.
You'll be shocked. And they stop it because they've refused to give themselves the opportunity to achieve and continue to achieve. But with that progress, not perfection mindset, your brain is constantly being fed because you are excited about every step that, oh, this morning I woke up and I'm at rapid done. Oh, wow, I love it. We should do more of this. The brain's like, we love it. I'm like, yes, we love it. We're going to do more of it. That's how the brain, it's really that, it's really about psyching yourself. This thing is, and that's why people hate motivational speakers and hate all these people. But the reality is that it is about psyching yourself to the place where you now have a play switch that you can just click and play and you're good. So progress or nothing, progress instead of perfection is the way to go.
Absolutely.
Not all or nothing. If it's you're not getting it all, then that is it. If you're not, that's where we need to balance it for us to have a more holistic experience in the year.
Absolutely. Yes, I have been with Njara Njama Esquire, and she's been speaking a lot of bars here. I mean, everything that you pretty much need to start off the new year. When we get back, we will be talking about nurturing these goals, nurturing these ideas that you've had and how you can go about it. But we have to go on a very short break, and when we get back, we'll keep up with the conversation. Please stay with us. All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. It's still Rapid Dawn on Rapid TV, and my name is Martha Alo, and I've been with Njara Njama. That name sounds so
It's very heavy.
It's very Njara Njama, very beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Now let's talk about nurturing these goals that we have. It's one thing to set the goals. It's one thing to achieve the goals. And I must say that one time I had the idea to start up something. I had written it down for 5 years. I did it last year. 5 whole years. And many times we don't give ourselves grace, or we don't show ourselves
a lot
we
are the worst
grace,
critics of ourselves,
honestly speaking. And I, in executing that last year, I mean, that feels so old. Last year was just yesterday. You know, in executing that last year, one of the major things I realized is the fact that sometimes you have the vision, but you need to be equipped enough to execute that vision, which is where nurturing comes in. So throughout the whole time, consciously or unconsciously, I got materials I was learning. Through life I was experiencing, through people's stories I was hearing. And then when execution came, it was super easy because that dream was nurtured to a point where execution becomes easy. This is something a lot of people struggle with. Remember, we were talking about people starting 5 businesses in 1 year. In fact, I saw someone, I said it yesterday on air, this person divorced 4 times this year, and the person last year, and the person is still in love as we speak. You know, it was trending on social media, and I'm like, people treat businesses or treat their personal life how they treat businesses, how they treat their goals. You see, and one of the major things I have found missing in this is the ability for people to nurture these dreams to maturity. How do you think a person? How can you help a person? You know, to do that. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to pick it up from the last thing you said about treating their lives their personal lives, the way they treat their business and everything. The reality is, remember, we're talking about a product here, and we've said that you are the product. So if you're coming to the market with a bad product, if you like, go to the Fortune 5,000 company, you are still a bad product, and it's be visible. In fact, to be visible more when you go to a Fortune 5,000 company, and it may be not so visible if you go to a small roadside company.
Exactly.
It will take time for them to fish you out and find out that you are a terrible product. At the end of the day, you are the products going to the market. So if you don't fix yourself and come to the market with the best version of yourself, knowing that at every given point in time, you are adapting and getting better, learning, relearning, unlearning, and putting yourself out there more, you have failed from the beginning. We've talked about that. We're not going to talk about self-awareness again. We've done that. Then when it now comes to implementation, there are a few things that I usually always tell clients, friends, or when I speak, whatever. The first thing is, you are never going to be good at what you just started. You will be terrible. Let me give you a personal story. So I've been learning how to drive, sparingly. We'll enter my friend's car, they'll drive the car and everything. But nobody really trusted me to drive the car. And these are people that I help do business with. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not driving anybody's car until I buy my car. So I buy my car, and it was parked. I didn't drive it. I said, okay, you know what? It's because I did not go to driving school. So I went to driving school. I was going to driving school. I would come back. I would still not drive my car. And then I'm wondering, I have a car. Before, my excuse was I did not have a car. Now I have a car. Why am I not driving? Guess what? It's because I was too afraid to suck at driving initially. So I had to understand that every single thing, adventure, even relationship that you start, you will suck at it. And that's okay.
That's perfectly fine.
That's perfectly fine. So when I uncovered that myth, it was around 11 p.m. in the night I uncovered it. I took my car key, entered the car, and drove around. That was the first time I was driving by myself. And what the lesson to learn or take from that is, when it comes to achieving anything at all, when it comes to implementing your plan, if you step into the arena with the mindset of, I need this to be perfect, you have failed already.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's where sometimes in planning, we think we're planning, but what we are really doing is postponing what should happen.
Absolutely.
You're not planning because you're telling yourself, oh, I need to read all the books. I need to attend all the conferences.
Meanwhile, it can happen as you go.
That's how it happens. The reality is that there are certain things embedded in the implementation of your goal or your vision that you will never know until you start implementing. That's just the reality.
And when I talk about process many times, I don't think a lot of people understand the law of process. There is character that is being built in the process. There's discipline that is being built in the process. So when you think that...
There's experience.
And these are things that people cannot take away from you.
And you cannot get it any other place.
And I'll give you an example. Recently, a certain TikToker was trending. His name is Pella. I use that example here, and a lot of people didn't find it funny. He is a TikToker. He gets money from live streaming.
Yes.
And then there's a person that has built a multi-million-dollar company through working by himself. Let's say a Vodi now. Because I watched a video of Vodi himself talking about how when he asks people to do something, he goes on and he does it by himself. Because these people make it look like I don't know how to do it. But I was the first employee of my company before
He does, and I know because I've worked with Vodi.
Exactly.
He would do it by himself.
Exactly. So he says, I'm the first...
And do it better, Seth.
I'm doing better.
I'm serious.
He says, I'm the first employee of my company. So anything you want to do, I can do it.
Yes.
You get it. So these are sometimes I've lost my train of thought. These are sometimes the the process a lot of people deal with. The process of Vodi now can never, how Vodi handles money can never be the same way a Pella will handle money.
Absolutely.
Am I looking down on his craft?
No.
There's something that taking walking through a process to get something.
It does to you.
There's something that it does
There's
to
something it does to you. So that's my first train of thoughts. The first thing is you have to know that whatever you start, you will suck at it. You'll be terrible at it. Well, you might not be terrible at it, like bad, but then you will not be great at it. So stop expecting greatness from the get-go. Get into it. Get your hands dirty. If you say you want to make money, be shameless about it. A lot of us want to make money, but we are ashamed.
We're cute about it.
Somebody said that you are too broke to be ashamed. You're too broke. And when he said that, it touched me in a wrong way. I'm like, stop. Why will you say that?
Is that
but
when
I looked at it again, why exactly am I ashamed? This is not illegal. This is not wrong. This is not vile. This is actually useful to myself and society. So why am I? So get your hands dirty. That's the first thing. The second thing I want you to understand is how time works. There's a mindset shift that I had around time that has helped me so much. And the mindset shift is that time is energy. Energy is life. Now, while time and all of these things, there's none that can be replicated. All of them reduces with time. So when you say you have 24 hours in a day, what that means is that if God has given you 150 hours in your lifespan and you have 24 hours, that 24 hours spent has reduced the bank of your time that you have. So if you do not manage or use or implement or maximize that 24 hours, you have reduced your lifespan, which also means that you have reduced your energy bank. And when I shifted my perspective about time, I started seeing time as life. So when you ask me to do something, it needs to be valuable for me to then give you a part of my life.
Absolutely.
I can't do that. That's too precious and priceless. So when you start thinking about time in that way, it will help you understand that every time you choose not to implement your goal or take steps towards your action, you're wasting your life.
I'm wasting it.
Okay, yeah, you're wasting. Maybe wasting is a kind word. Okay, let's leave it at wasting. So that's the second thing you need to implement. The third thing that I want us to understand is that if you choose not to take action, action would happen to you.
It will happen to you.
It will happen to you.
You know, and
it's not.
I've heard people say some these things are very alien things to me, because when someone is saying, somebody says I'm doing too much, so I need to be more careful.
You need to dim your light.
Because someone says that you're doing too much. Anybody that says you're doing too much, and I'm telling you because I've done it, I say you do too little. You do too little, that's why you think another person is doing too much.
Yes.
And doing too much is good.
More than good.
Because I told you that I have found, should I say, a lacuna in the workspace where people and by the way, let me just add that it's very difficult to find people who are dedicated to doing what they have committed themselves to doing.
They almost don't exist.
They almost don't exist.
Yes.
You know, and because you are that person who will be committed to whatever. You said something about time. If I have committed to doing it, then I must do it.
Absolutely.
If it is not going to be of value to me, then I'm not going to waste my time doing it. That's how life is.
That's it.
But most times, you see people take a job, they're not willing to execute that job to the best of their capacity. And when there's a little bit of challenge, it becomes a problem. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Be very comfortable with it.
And I don't know how else to say it. Be comfortable.
Maybe I should add. There's something that I work a lot with work people. So I call myself a human capital specialist. So I work a lot with people in workspace particularly. And one of the things I've come to realize is that people associate work with suffering. So when you are working, people, I don't know how that's happened or where it came from, but people just feel like you're suffering. And any other thing beside working is what enjoyment is. That's not the reality. Absolutely. Work is work. Work will be hard sometimes. It will be light sometimes. It will be challenging sometimes. It will be difficult sometimes. But it is work. No more, no less. When you have that mindset about work, when you have that reality about work, you'll be amazed at the level of productivity that you have hacked. And that's just the simple reality. But a lot of people, particularly with this age and time, where people are now selling the idea of you have to work soft work, work from home,
don't work hard,
work smart. No,
that's the beginning of your problem. That's it.
For you to be able to work smart, you must have worked hard enough and then found smarter ways to do the hard work. And doesn't mean you stop working hard.
See, it's a combination.
Absolutely. Both of them work hand in hand. So we've talked about time. We've talked about how you need to get your hands dirty. Let's now talk about what you need to do on a daily basis to get this done. I'm very practical, and my practicality starts with get yourself a notebook. All the weddings that you have been going for since 1975, they've been giving you jotters. Find the biggest one that you have, even the smallest one, I don't care. You can use one per month, right? Bring it out. Write on it, 2026 implementation plan. On the first page, write a note to yourself. So how I journal is very interesting. I do like a letter to myself now for my future self. So I start with J. Undrara. If you're reading this, you're probably in the future, right? So it makes it engaging, but you don't have to be me. You can start your own style. But what I want you to do is to align yourself with the year. Get that, write it out. What do I want to achieve for 2026? Write it down. It doesn't have to be refined.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be anything special. If you want to, permit me to use, if you want to get a BBL in 2026, and that's your goal, by all means,
you have different priorities.
Your goal does not have to be my goal.
Absolutely.
So because some people are now copying people's goal, I've seen people go on social media.
Vision boards.
Thank you. Copying people's vision board, and then you're wondering why I did not. It's not, you borrowed somebody else's goal. Somebody said something interesting, that if you are able to, from beginning to end, itemize and state and write out how your life is going to be, you're not living your life, because you can't know that. You can't. You have copied somebody else's life.
Exactly. But again, I think it would help if I told you that I wrote 2026 or 2025 as a finished product. The letter you said you write to yourself. I did that too. 2025 was great, and this and that and that, and I'm happy about how things turned out. And when I went back reading it, it was the optimism in the writing for me. And then I said, this I did, this I did, this I didn't do. This there's a possibility of doing. So now I've seen that the problem is not having the vision.
No, it's not.
The problem is actually putting up a structure to ensure that even when you implement the vision, it can remain there for a long time.
That's where we're coming to.
So you don't have to rinse,
no, you don't have
repeat,
to.
rinse,
no, you
repeat.
don't have to. Well, you have to, but I'll get to that. So after writing down all of those things, then you take it. It's work, and I don't know why. Again, we're not good with working. But let's assume that our listeners and our audience will do the work. Yeah? So you do the work. The first thing if your item on the first list is I want to get a new job, that's the first list that you have. The actionable steps that you would take to get the job, that's where the work is. What are you going to do daily? What are you going to do weekly? And don't go and put 5,000 things that you will not do, because it doesn't make sense. Be authentic and honest with yourself. If you're lying to yourself, what you're really telling me is that you're not ready to do the work. So if you're going to say, I'm going to search on Google, which I don't think you should search, but then, okay. You're going to search on Google for the job. Write it down. How many minutes are you going to spend searching for that job? When you do get the job, because there's now going to be a research phase, there's going to be an application phase, there's going to be a reaching out phase. All of those things needs to be lined out. Otherwise, all you are doing is wishing. And do the same thing for every other goal that you set for yourself. Now, that's the system that you're creating, which is the actionable goals that we talked about. But then here's the kicker. That you have done this work, that you have been intentional, that you are willing, does not mean it will happen exactly how you have lined it out. That's where adaptability comes into place. That's where adaptability comes into play. So if you have done all the work, you must be open to the idea that there's a possibility that things will not happen the way you have planned it to happen. And that's because you're a human. You still belong to God. Some of us don't believe in God. Some believe in the universe and some stones. But whatever it is you believe in, it means that there's a superior power that is redirecting your mind. So keep yourself open to that. And once it happens, adapt. Pick the lessons, learn, implement it, and move on.
Thank you so much, Njara and Jama, for this. I feel like we should keep up with this conversation. Should we? Definitely enjoyed every bit of it. And let's just let you leave a word to everyone out there, because it's the New Year's, and you know that people will actively do these things that we're talking about. If you should leave them with a word now, what exactly would it be?
Start now. Start with what you have. Whatever you do, just start. Just start. take the risk. What's the worst that will happen? That's the question I always ask myself when I'm going to do something big. What's the worst that will happen? And I get comfortable with the worst that could happen.
Absolutely.
And nobody can tell me any worse than that. Any worse I was.
It doesn't get any worse.
No, nothing worse than that. And give yourself the grace to grow and live and enjoy who you are as a person. Those
And
are
then,
my last words.
yeah, if I will leave you with one thing today is, more than ever, be very comfortable with balancing work and life.
Oh, work and life, they're not different.
They are not different.
So
but
there's nothing like work-life balance. But
there is.
that conversation is...
There is. You know, trying to segment everything. Segment it.
And so there's no need to segment it because life is in work is in life. So when you segment it, it means you're postponing one for the other to take place.
You know why it is? Because we mistake productivity for spending long hours doing one thing.
Oh, yeah.
You see, so we mistake productivity with I have to be here for 16 hours before I am called productive. It's sometimes doing nothing is actually working because you are rewiring your brain
and giving yourself the opportunity to do
exactly more. So when I say let there be a balance, know when this is the priority, know when that is the priority, but in all, leave. That's it.
No more.
Welcome to 2026. I'm excited about everything that you're set to do in this year. Let me remind you that we're active across social media platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and TikTok, X as well. It is at Rapid TV. On YouTube, it is at Official Rapid TV. I'm hoping that this particular video being streamed on YouTube will have a lot of views, because share this to your friends and family and everyone that needs to hear about it. 2026 is a year that you don't need to joke about. No year should be joked with or about, because that's like muffling down your potentials. You know what you're supposed to do, you don't need to do that. So the YouTube page is at Official Rapid TV. You can rewatch, you can like, share, and comment on our page. Our website, www.rbnradiotv.com, allows you to connect with us wherever you are in the world. Once again, my name is Martha Alu, and I will see you tomorrow.